evening, everyone. We are welcome to today's webinar. I would like to thank everyone who has connected. So the webinar has started and we have just waited for that few minutes so other people can join. But while people are joining, we are just going to continue the webinar right now. So thank you for all those who are already here. The webinar will be recorded. So at the end of the session, we are going to have the webinar uploaded in the YouTube so that every person who was not here when we started from the beginning will be able to see how the event went. So for all those who are joining us for the first time, we want to deeply appreciate you for joining our webinar. You are welcome to Hedge Global. You're welcome to Hedge Global Technologies. This webinar is proudly presented to you by Hedge Global Manpower Team. Hedge Global Technology is the parent company for Hedge Global Technologies. Sorry, Hedge Global Technologies is the funding and the parent company for Hedge Global Manpower, Hedge Global Education, Hedge Global Travels, and all the other affiliates of Hedge Global. So if you are joining us today, you are seeing Hedge Global Manpower, you could be asking, oh, is Hedge Global Manpower different? No, Hedge Global Manpower is not different. Hedge Global Manpower is Hedge Global Manpower. Okay, thank you. So Hedge Global Manpower is the affiliate of Hedge Global Technologies. So Hedge Global Technologies Limited is the registered name for Hedge Global Group. So we organize these webinars every Thursdays and every Saturdays. Saturdays is basically for those who want to travel via the education route. We have different routes you can use to travel. If your dream is to travel abroad, that is what we do. We help those whose dream is to travel abroad. So we organize this webinar to enlighten people. It's not just about the funds, it's about information, because information is power. If you're enlightened, if you know how to go about your way, you will be able to know how to find your way through. So that is why we organize this webinar. So this webinar holds every Thursday, 7:45 p.m. And also for those who want to travel via the educational route, we also organize webinars every Saturday. But for the past 2 Saturdays, we didn't hold the webinar because I was not present. So for now, I've been the one anchoring these webinars while we are still training other people that can also do the same job. So let's dive in straight to the point. So you can see on my screen, Hedge Global Manpower at the top right, if you are viewing directly from your laptop. Then on the other hand, you will see European jobs. Then the main center, you'll find Manpower Webinar. The reason why we captured it as Manpower Webinar is because this is proudly brought to you by the Hedge Global Manpower Team. So my name is Henry Elechi, I'm the Global Admin Manager and the speaker for this webinar. So we are going to go straight to the point. Thank you. So Hedge Global Group, like I said, is the umbrella that is covering or bearing the entire Hedge Global affiliates. I said before, for those who have joined earlier, I said Hedge Global has different affiliates or different branches or different subsidiaries or different things that we venture into. We have Hedge Global Education, we have Hedge Global Manpower, we have Hedge Global Travels, we have Hedge Global Rentals and all the rest. So they do different things. But for today, we are looking at Hedge Global Manpower. So that is where you are in the right place. So we are going to go straight to the point to talk about the thing we have for today. So if you are seeing this slide, sorry, this flyer here, that means you're in the right place. You saw the job and career webinar. This is our WhatsApp contact for those who want to see us and them who want to speak with us. So you can reach directly to us via this. So if you are seeing this sticker, or you are actually in the right place. So now we are going to talk about the European jobs that we have, and we are going to talk about how you can be able to find yourself in Europe and the things you need. We are going to talk about it. Now, first of all, I'm going to give a brief introduction, or I'll just cite a little about Europe so that some of us will understand. So if you look at my screen now, you are going to see a list of so many countries, over 50 something of them. So if you look at them, you are going to find that from the top right, the first one is Austria. You will see Austria there. You will see Belgium. You will see the Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Italy, Latvia, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, and all the rest. There are so many. I just want to save time, but you will see the list that there are so many of them. Now, among all these countries, they came together. We have Europe is a continent. For those who do not know, Europe is a continent, and they have different zones, geographical zones, just like in Nigeria. We have the south, we have the west, we have the east and the north. So the same thing in Europe. The north, they have the northern part of the Europe where you find the Finland, you find the Sweden, you find the Lithuania and all the rest. Then we also have the eastern part of Europe. The eastern part, you see Portugal, you see Spain and all the rest. Then the southern part, that is where you find other countries like the Albania, Turkey and all the rest. Then you go to the other western part of Europe, Germany, France and all the rest. So yeah, so if I'm not getting it wrong, but that is just how it is. If you go to the map, you are going to learn more. If you browse European map on your phone or your laptop, you are going to see more about everything that has to do with Europe. Now, why do we choose to focus on Europe? if I open different continents for you, like if I open Canada, Canada is just one country, American is just one country, Australia is just one country. But now you can see that we have over close to 60 countries that, apart from the UK that has left the European Union, but let's just call it approximately, at least we can get at least 50 countries that fall under the European country. But if we want to now narrow it down to the Shanghai area, you have at least 26 Shanghai countries. If you look at from my first on the list, which is Austria down to Switzerland or Sweden, you find 26 countries. 26. Now, what is Shanghai? When I talk about Shanghai, Shanghai is an agreement, is a mobility agreement that allows people to travel between all these European countries. That means it's a borderless agreement. You can travel if you're in Austria, so long as you have a valid visa, a valid Shanghai visa. You can travel. That is, you can call it a type D visa or a visitor visa. You can travel between Austria, Belgium, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Italy. Now, one of the reasons why people don't like going to Europe, so many people say it's because of the language barrier. Yes, that's very true. Because as you see all these countries with different names, that is how they have different languages. They did not let go of their indigenous languages. They adopted their indigenous languages, thereby making them unique. So when you go to Greece, you will speak the Greece language. Germany, you speak German. France, you speak French. Finland, you speak Finnish. Estonia, you speak Estonian. Denmark, you speak Danish. Belgium, you speak Belgian or Dutch. If you go to Luxembourg, you speak Luxembourg. If you go to Netherlands, they speak Dutch. If you go to Portugal, you speak Portuguese, Polish, just like that, Spanish. You understand? So they all have different languages. So the reason why people don't like going, please, if you are wondering why I'm rushing, is because our webinars are usually 40 minutes. We don't want to keep it extended. So I have to rush so that we can have time for those who have questions, because we have a lot to talk about, but I doubt if we can be able to meet up. So I just have to rush so that we can have time to ask questions. So now, if you go through the entire list of these countries, you are going to see that they are very numerous. They are very numerous. They may not be very large in terms of population, but if you go to your computer now, if you have chance, just browse the richest countries in the world per GDP. Right now, you will find that you will find at least the entire the entire European countries on that list. That means these are first world nations. These are first world nations. These are developed nations. I know why I'm taking that time to talk about Europe is because I want people to understand. For those who always talk about Europe, they have different languages. I cannot cope with the language. No, don't just look at it as the language aspect. Look at it at the other aspects, the benefits you stand to gain. There are a lot of benefits. Now we started talking about, because our front desk agents told us that a lot of persons come to them from Nigeria, from other parts of Africa. They don't have all the funds to do the self-sponsored package. I'm going to talk about that. We have the fully sponsored package and the self-sponsored package. So we decided to start talking about Europe and how you can, on your own, start getting this job yourself. But for those who cannot be able to pass through the stress and be patient to wait until when these employers contact them, then you cannot come to us, because that is basically what we do. Now, if you look at the entire European country, you see that they are very numerous and their currency they use is euros. Now, can you convert the current exchange rate for euros to naira? You will see that you get nothing less than 1,700. So you are looking at an exchange rate of 1,700. I don't want to overemphasize about how good and how important it is for people to see the European countries. Imagine you have a visa for Netherlands, and that visa you have for Netherlands can allow you to travel to Denmark without having to get another visa. You can travel to Estonia without having to get another visa. You can travel to Finland. You can travel to Germany. So why don't we pay attention to these countries? Instead of rushing to America, rushing to Canada, rushing to Australia, where the immigration policies are getting tight. Europe is now the hot cake. In fact, people who are currently in America, who are living in, call American citizens, are leaving the American shores to enter Europe. That is why we want those of our brothers who are still in Nigeria, just change your orientation. You can use European Union, European Zone as your stepping point, as your first place of contact, where you can use to navigate to every other place. There are some countries in Europe currently, as I speak to you, if you live there for at least 5 years, you will start processing your permanent residency, and then you start talking about your citizenship. If you look at the top five strongest passports in the world, if you go to your website now, to the internet, check the top 5 strongest passports in the world, you are going to see that European countries are there. So imagine you having one of these passports. That means you can travel to anywhere. You can travel to anywhere. So I will not stay here and start talking about Europe and Europe and Europe and Europe. Let us go further to the next part of what we are here to do. Now, I want to travel, and how do I start? Like I said, we have 2 packages for those who want to travel to Europe, because if you come to Hedge Global, it's not like we don't have jobs for Canada, or we don't have link for all those places. No, we emphasize on Europe because as we speak now, the European immigration policies are still flexible, though a lot of changes are taking place. Many countries are pulling out of Nigeria. As I speak to you now, there are some countries you want to go for long stay. You will have to go to other African countries for your biometrics. Country like Netherlands, you have to leave the shores of Nigeria because the things happening in Nigeria. I'm using Nigeria because that is where we get most of our clients coming from. But like other African countries where they still have good policies, their governments are still trying to improve. You understand? But now, most of these countries are changing their immigration policies, closing up their borders. So this is the best time. If traveling abroad has been your dream, or maybe it's part of what you long for, then you have to make effort, or you need to check out for other things you need to do. But if this is what you really want to do, don't just think about yourself, think about your children, think about your next generation. You understand? Now, look at all these countries. The politicians we are looking at in Nigeria, I will just have to say this slowly. You see, most of them, they have carried their children to these countries to study. Now, when they get sick, they go to these countries to study. When they want to buy anything, they go to these countries because they know they will get original products. So imagine you living in the same country where these politicians come for their medicals. That means you'll be able to have access to good medical education. Let me just stop there. So let's go to the next part of this webinar. Now, I want to travel abroad. What and what do I need? What and what do I need? Now, these are the basic documents. The basic documents that you will be required. First of all, you need an international passport. If you see there, I said active, an active international passport, you need an active international passport. An active international, that means your passport should not be less than your visa period. So if you have a visa, or maybe you are applying for a job and the contract states that you need to stay there for 2 years or for 1 year, then your passport should exceed your expected staying period. So if you are supposed to stay, like for instance, you are traveling for visit or for tourism and your visa is just for 90 days, then your passport should at least exceed that 90 days. If you carry a passport that is less than 90 days, your visa, the immigration officers will not approve it. They will not place that sticker on your passport because your visa is supposed to exceed the period of your stay. So please get an active passport. If you know you don't have a passport, go and get a passport. The first passport I got almost got finished before I ever traveled. So I know what I'm saying. You may be saying, I've not gotten an opportunity to travel. You don't know. An opportunity can come tomorrow. An opportunity can come today. From this webinar, you can learn how you can travel, and then you don't have a passport. Because every of the website that I'm going to show us after now, you must need your passport. Your passport is the number one document, your number one traveling document that you need for you to be able to travel. Your passport is your number one document. Then 2, you need a Europass CV. You need a Europass CV. Some of you may be asking, what is a Europass CV? Now, different continents, different countries, they have different standards of CV. If you want to optimize your CV, they have different standards. Now, for the Europeans, they call their own European Pass CV. That is what they call it. So that means your CV must pass the European standard. That is what it means. Your CV must be up to the European standard. So if your CV is not in the European format, then the employer is not going to look at your CV. So if you don't know how to get your CV to the Europass standard, you are going to come to our next webinar. We are not going to talk that today because this Europass CV is a service that we charge in Hedge Global. Yes, we charge. It's a paid service. So I'm not going to expose all of our services for you, but I'm going to give you clips of how you can get your Europass CV. But if you know you cannot do your Europass CV, you can go to our front desk agents. They are going to attend to you and they will optimize your Europass CV and you can be able to do that. So also, you need to tailor your cover letter. You have to tailor your cover letter. You know, your Europass CV must come with your cover letter. Yes. For those who may be saying, what is Europass CV? I have said it is a service that we pay, but I'm going to give you glimpse in our next webinar. If there's still time, I'm going to talk about it. I will show you the website where you can use to check your to CV to gauge if it's up to that standards. But for today, we don't have enough time. But I'm telling you the documents. But you can go and do your own research. You can type what is Europass CV. If you have AI chatbot, you can ask. Then they will show you the standard. Then you can tailor your CV. Then the next thing you need here is your tailored cover letter. I'm going to talk a little bit on this. Your cover letter should see. First of all, when an employer wants to make an employment, thousands or hundreds of applicants will vie for that opportunity. Now, when they vie for the opportunity, the employer has never seen, or maybe I would say the recruiter or the HR has never seen those people. He has never come in contact with the clients or with the applicants. The first thing your employer sees is your CV and your cover letter. Your cover letter goes a little bit further to detail your experience, what you have done in your previous jobs or what you are currently doing. So that is why you have to tailor your cover letter to represent you well enough. Some people will say Sweet Mart, yes. Sweet Mart, yes, that is your cover letter. Your cover letter can represent Sweet Mart. So you have to tailor your cover letter in such a way that when your employer or the HR or the recruiter goes through that cover letter, they will be convinced, irrespective of the fact that they have not seen you, they will be convinced. Then the next thing we are looking at here is credentials. In fact, some persons have even gotten a job before those who have more credentials because of their CV and their cover letters. Then your credentials, you must arrange your credentials. Your credentials must be well arranged. They must be well arranged so that when they ask you to submit your credentials, sometimes you can put all in one PDF instead of scattering your credentials all over. Arrange all in one PDF. If it's your degree or whatever it is, every program you have done. Some people don't know this. Every program you have done. I was even telling some people in my church, I said, the services you render in your church, like for instance, you are applying for a tech job and you don't have enough work experience, but you have been a technical team member in your church, in your local church. That is services, but it is classified under voluntary services. So you can also add that to your CV. And you can request for certificate of service from your church pastor and add it. It's part of services. It's under voluntary service, though it is not paid service, but it is under voluntary services. So those documents, attach it. For those who don't have enough document, attach it. Then the next thing here is your language proficiency. For those who are going to apply for jobs that require you, remember we are talking about Europe. Europe has to do with different languages. So for those who are applying for some jobs that require you to speak, like for instance, Germany, or you want to travel to Sweden. So you should have an idea of that language. In our next episode of this webinar, I don't know if we have enough time because I've not even talked about the website. I promised those people that didn't meet up in our last webinar that I'm going to talk about the website. So let me try my best. So for language proficiency, all these documents required, I'm going to emphasize more on them in our next webinar. But now for language proficiency, now let me give you a breakdown. Okay, this is Mr. John. Mr. John wants to travel to Norway. Mr. John has been targeting employers in Norway. And Mr. John should know that, yes, irrespective of the fact that in Norway they speak English, the primary and the number one accepted language in Norway is Norwegian. That is the number one language in Norway. So any employer that wants to employ you should, most times they will ask, do you speak Norwegian? Or at what level do you understand Norwegian? We have different levels of speaking Norwegian. Sometimes you could speak at the level of just employment level. You can speak at that level. So you should have language proficiency. That's just what I'm saying. And there are different websites you can learn language for free. You can do your own research. In our next webinar, I'm going to give us some websites. You can download the apps from your phone and learn languages for free. Yes, even on YouTube, learn languages for free. And those people who have this language proficiency, they will have 95% chances of being employed than those who speak only English. Yes. You may not know that as I am here, I can understand some part of Norwegian. I can also understand some part of French. So I can understand at least 3 European languages plus English. So then the next thing is your police clearance certificate. If you have never submitted your biometrics for police clearance, please, I think in Nigeria, it is currently free. You can create your own app and have your biometrics submitted. You can go to the police clearance website, create your app, and then references. Wherever you are working, make sure you get references. That is it. So let me go further. Okay, now before I talk about, I like talking about our paid jobs at the last part of my webinar. I like talking about it. So now let me talk about how to get European jobs. Now, I don't know if you can see my screen. Yeah, okay. So how to get European jobs. Now, if you look at my dashboard now, my screen, you will see this website. If you zoom closely, I'm going to read it out. The website is called europa.eu. Europa.eu. Look at it very well, europa.eu. If you come to how do you know? This is an official website of the European Union. They will ask, how do you know? If you scroll down, you will see what is written here. All official European Union websites addresses are in the europa.eu domain. You see, all official European website addresses are in the europa.eu domain. So that is how you will know that you are not in a scam website or you are not in a fake website. This is pure European Union website. So when you type this, right now, if you have not typed this, you can just write it down or write it down, or you can even type it. We are still going to share it in the group. You can type it now. When you type it, you are going to see home, job seekers, employers, living and working in Europe. That's all. European services, then contacts, my euros. So this, if you see this place, only on this website, you are going to find over 3.8 million jobs. You see, over 3.8 million jobs. 3.8 million, that means there is no way you will not get employed if you are serious. Yes, there is no way you wouldn't get employed if you are serious. You have over 3.8 million jobs. Yes. Now, I said home, job seekers, find a job, hints and tips, Europass. Remember I told you of Europass before? This is the Europass I'm talking about. I don't want to go into that. I don't want to click it, but in our next webinar, I'm going to emphasize more on this. This series of this webinar is only going to last for the month of October and November. Yeah, but after October and November, we are not going to talk about this again. So now, employers, find candidates. That means you are an employer. You are looking for candidates. You want to advertise a job, hints and tips. Living and working in Europe, job vacancies, insights. Oh my God, this meeting is ending in the next 10 minutes. Like I told us, our meeting is meant to stay for 40 minutes. So, but let me just go further. So that's why I've been rushing. Now, you will see this is the main primary website for all European jobs. Most of all those websites, most of the websites you know about European jobs, they all get their jobs from here. I know what I'm telling you. They all get their jobs from here. But like I said, one of the reasons why some people may not be able to get that job is because of those things I told us previously. Those required documents. That is one of the reasons why most people will not get that job. And another reason why an employer will not hire them is because of what I'm going to say in our next webinar. I'm not saying it today. In our next webinar, that is what I'm going to talk about. I will emphasize on that part. We call it labor market testing. Labor market testing. That is one of the reasons why employers will not employ some people from some part of other continents. Apart from the problems and the challenges we have in Nigeria currently, the economic challenges, the insurgency and all the rest that is making immigration policies against the Nigerian people. These are the factors that will lead to an employer not wanting to employ you because of the labor market testing. Yes, labor market testing. I'm going to emphasize on this because we don't have enough time. So let me talk about how you can get to employers and how you can get jobs. Now, like I said, these are different jobs. Now, you have already gotten this okay, this is for Europass CV, how to create your Europass CV. Remember, these things I'm showing us is from the European Union website. It's not from Hedge Global website. This is not a slide. So somebody will not think it's let me reload the page. It's not a slide. It's not fake. This is real European. Create your Europass CV. Create your Europass. You can see the website is loading. It's loading. Create your Europass CV. You can watch this video to learn more on how to go about it. You can go down. You will see different things here. You can see different things. I'm not going to go into all that. But go to this website. For this particular website, I told us you can get it from here. You can get it from this place, Job Seekers, Europass. If you right click here now and click another tab, it will open. So if you are using a phone, you can also do that from your phone. If you are using a laptop or any device you are using, you will see the header of the website. The head of the website, they carry this menu. You will find all those things there. So now, after you have already, remember, first of all, you must have these documents. I talked about this. I'm going to emphasize on this next week. Then, for those who don't have international passports, we are making arrangement for immigration officers that will give you international passports at reduced rates. If possible, we may feature 1 or 2 immigration officers. I don't know where you are watching from, but if you are watching from Nigeria or from the diaspora, yes, we are going to compare prices. If you know somebody who is an immigration officer that has lower prices, you can contact us. But for the people we know, we are going to talk about it. So everybody should go and get their passports. Yeah, that is if you want to travel. Then now, I said, after you have gotten those documents, then you come here. First of all, you can see that in the course of that webinar, I told us that we have different countries. You can see different countries here, different countries. And these are the same countries you are seeing here. Remember, I talked about these countries. I talked about these countries before. Sorry, I want us to see the screen very well. I was talking about these whole countries that consist in the European Union and also these 26 countries that consist in the Shanghai area. Now, if you now go to this, if you go to this place now, the website, you are going to see the same countries I was telling you about. If you count them, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. So you see 31 different countries. Now, these numbers you are seeing here, there are different jobs in these countries. Austria, you are seeing 66,000, Belgium, 76,000, Bulgaria, 8,800, so and so. France, over 100 and something thousand. So you are seeing different jobs, different places. So these are the jobs. Now, are you telling me that among all these jobs in these countries, that there is no one employer that will employ you? Is it what you are saying? That you have become so unlucky that not one employer will employ you inside all these jobs. The challenge is that most persons are not ready to put in the work. So now, if you want to contact Euros, this is where you contact them. If you want to chat to them for advice, this is where you chat to them. Everything is there. You can go there. If you want to call them, you can call them via these numbers. If you want to meet with them in any of the European centers, you can meet them here. If you want to write to them via email, you can write to them via here. And there's something also I'm supposed to mention among those required documents. Please add this to the list. The tech department team, please take note. Add your social media account, especially your LinkedIn. It should be part of your document. In case you don't know, your social media has become part of your document, so don't joke with it. For those of us posting rubbish on our website, on our social media, you better stop now. Stop posting anything that is not necessary. Your social media account is very important. I know I'm saying this, but I wouldn't say more than that. So now, these are the different countries. So now you are not the one to choose. You will choose. But how to choose is now where we are going to talk about in our next webinar. How do I choose? You are seeing different countries now, but how do you choose? How do you determine? Which one are you going to focus on? So I'm not going to talk about that today because we don't have enough time again. But in our next webinar, remember, we are going to focus on these basic things. Now, I've told us, these are employers. You can get to them. Now, let's just open one of these countries now. So let's open just Luxembourg. Now, we have opened Luxembourg. These are different jobs in Luxembourg. These are different jobs in Luxembourg. Sorry. I don't have enough time. That's the challenge you have here. There is not enough time. It's like it's an error. Maybe it's from the network. But these are different jobs. I'm trying to refresh the page. So you see, these things, I'm getting them from the website online. There is an error on this particular, I don't know, maybe they have an error now, but let me clear this part. So now, when you have identified a particular country you want to go to, when you have identified a particular country, what you will now do is to start digging. Start digging. When you have identified a particular country, you start digging. I'm going to talk about that in our next meeting. We only have 1 minute, so let me talk about the jobs that we have. Oh my God. So these are the current jobs we have now. Let me just use this 1 minute to talk about them. Now, like I told us, we have different kind of jobs for different classes or different people. We have the self-sponsored jobs and the fully sponsored job. Now, what I was talking about just a minute, all this while, is a fully sponsored job. This one, you are not paying any person a dime. You are doing it yourself. That is fully sponsored job. Now, for self-sponsored job, where you pay your money, we have a job in Estonia, mattress production worker. Salary range is 1,000 to 2,500 per month. There is no language barrier. Transportation and accommodation is provided. We also have construction worker in Estonia, 1,500 to 2,500. That is a monthly salary. No language is required. Transportation and accommodation is provided. We also have reinforcement concrete plant worker. Please, this webinar will be ending very soon. We also have in Slovakia, you can see the salaries. We also have another warehouse worker in Slovakia. We have in Serbia.
Okay, just a quick one. I deeply want to appreciate everyone that joined us in today's webinar. It was really insightful. We had so much to discuss. We couldn't even take the question and answer session, but because of the short time that we have, so I wasn't able to take that. But in our next episode, next Thursday, I'm going to start more earlier, so I would urge us to also join so that we could wrap up this entire episode of our webinar section. You know, it's not like our conventional way of doing our webinar, but please try and join earlier enough so that we could quickly attend to what's remaining. But for the remaining jobs that we have already posted in our platform. You can also reach out to our front desk agents. They will give you the details of further jobs we have in Serbia, in Latvia, in Montenegro. We also have in Netherlands, in Luxembourg. We also have in Romania and likewise other European countries. But nevertheless, thank you so much for joining us. God bless you. See you next Thursday. Bye.